All right, Panther fans. I don't know where that came from. I'm bored, right? If the dog isn't here, it's too hot to go fishing. Kyle visited his mother's, so I'm just kind of sitting here by myself. And I'm gonna start crying again. Like it's weird, man. Um, the first week Fluffy was gone, it was just I think I was just in shock. And now in the subsequent weeks, just like out of nowhere, that's when I'll start crying. It's like hitting me in pieces. It's really weird. So we're going to do eggplant today. I had stopped calling him eggplant for purposes of this video. We will call him eggplant. For those of you who do not know what I'm talking about, is Aaron Ekblad. But whenever I'm using talk to text and I say Aaron Ekblad, my phone calls him eggplant. So we are going to give him his grade today. And I'm going to try to keep this under 6 hours because there's a lot you could talk about with Ekblad. He is not what he was, but he never was what he was going to be, but he is what he is, but what could he be? I can't believe I got that out. All right. We're going to look at this season of his. And we're also going to compare it to next season because it is a stark contrast. This year he had the 51 games, obviously, because he came back from the injury. He only had 4 goals, which is his least amount of goals since, well, I think that's his least amount of goals. Yeah, it's a career low 4 goals. He once had 5 goals in 2019 and 20, and every other year he's had more than 10, including 1, 2, 3 seasons with more than 15. And last year he had 14. And all of a sudden this year is like 4. Okay. So he had 4 goals, 14 assists for 18 points, which is, in the terms of defensemen, and I'm not saying this to be, I'm not trying to be mean, but that's basically like lower tier defenseman numbers. I mean, 18 points. But before I get to this one, but last year he played 71 games. He had 14 goals, 24 assists, 38 points. That's much more like it. However, this year with 18 points, he's a plus 27. Last year, even though he had 38 points, he was a minus 14. So I will take the 18 points and the plus 27 every day, and twice on Sunday versus 38 points, but a minus 14. Now, the rest of this year, what did we see? The 2 big differences were power play points. He's been a power play point producer in the past. Last year, 2 years ago was 20. Last year was 19. Or excuse me. 2 years ago was 20 points. The year before last year was 19 points. This most recent season, 4. So his offensive production is right off the cliff. Now, also his time on ice has significantly gone down from a high during the 2021 season of 25 minutes a night. He's gone down 24, 23, and now this most recent season was 20 minutes and 52 seconds a night. So his time on ice has gone down, and his shots have gone down significantly. This was the first year of his career where he had fewer than 98 shots, fewer than 100 shots, including the year in 2021 when he only played 35 games, but still had 101 shots. So his total, he only had 18 points. So if you extrapolate that out to a full season, maybe he's going to be like a 25-point guy, maybe. But that plus 27, he matches and mixes well with Forsling. Okay. All right. But we'll talk about that. Now in the playoffs, he kind of looks the same as last year. We'll do both years. Last year, 20 games, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points, plus 9. This year, 24 games, 1 goal, 5 assists, 6 points, plus 4. So no really big, huge changes there. His time on ice during the playoffs went up to 22 minutes and 33 seconds. And he did seem to shoot the puck a little bit more when you look at his average. Maybe it's about the same. So basically, when you get to the playoffs, he was about the same player that he was in the regular season, which, considering his injury history and considering the competition that he'd be up against on a nightly basis, for Ekblad to remain static, about the same guy, okay. We don't need him to be one of the guys that thinks he has to elevate his level of play, because we got Forsen, we got other guys for that. And we don't want him feeling that pressure, because what happens when Aaron Ekblad feels pressure? He tries to do too much. We've seen that over and over again when he was like the number one defenseman. If a guy was out of the lineup, like a Montour or a Yandel or Matheson, Ekblad would take it upon himself that he had to do more, and he'd get himself into trouble that way. So now, in terms of a grade, because I want to go over his grade, and then we'll go over, I know we got contract issues. I'm going to go ahead and give him a B+. The B is, when you look at his overall production, he's a good, solid defenseman. I'm going to give him the plus because, for the most part, not perfect. Every once in a while, he thinks he's Joe Louis or Muhammad Ali again, okay? But for the most part, he has learned to play within himself, meaning staying back there, like I said at the end of the Stanley Cup final, and just put a shot collar on him. And if he goes past the blue line, that's it, okay? Just stay. Be a good boy. Just be a good boy, Aaron. You want to be a good boy? We'll give you a treat. Just be a good boy. Stay at the blue line. Maybe every once in a while venture out. Do that thing that Radko Gudas used to do. Remember, Gudas he'd be at the blue line and he'd speed up to center ice and dump it in and then go to hell back where he came from. All right? So he's done a good job of reinventing himself. I'm not going to sit here and opine over what we thought he was going to be because of his draft position and how he looked. He's had the injuries. It is what it is, was what it was, his was, not was. That's it. He's who he is. Now, $7.5 million is a lot of money to pay for 18 points. That's a lot. That's a lot of money to pay for 18 points. However, we just won a Stanley Cup, right? And Gustav Forsling I think there's nobody that's going to deny he's our number one defenseman now, okay? But considering the configuration of the team, considering the comfort level that those two have together, if Ekblad can continue to stay and play within himself, and he is willing to take a significant pay cut, that would be a team-friendly deal, I would have no problem with him staying and being on Forsling's pair for as long as he can, physically do it. He's not that old, right? What is he, 28? Let's see. He's 28. So if he doesn't have any more injuries, he should continue to get a little bit better, or at least stay at the level he's at. And if he just plays with it himself, like he is not just showing on the ice that he has been doing, but also he has talked about it in interviews where, I kind of had to change my style of play. A guy that is willing to reinvent himself, I'm okay with keeping him on. Now, what would that contract look like? That depends. The problem for Ekblad is he needs a deal before Bob's contract is up. That's where the squeeze comes in. Now, could you see, could Ekblad want to stay so bad that he's willing to take a 1-year extension at a really low price and then get paid a little bit more after Bob's contract leaves? Would he want to stay that much? Is there enough trust between Ekblad and Zito and the organization? I mean, his face is on the arena, so there should kind of be. Would Ekblad be willing to roll the dice on a 1-year short extension where it's like $2 million? Because with Bob's 10, there's only so much. And then maybe get a a $3 or $4-ish million deal for maybe the last 5-6 years of his career. That might be pushing it a little bit, but look, all teams that win cups, you want to keep your guys around, especially if they're homegrown and you draft them. You know what I mean? There's always going to be that situation that Tampa find themselves in, where with Stamkos. Now, had Stamkos, I don't know what they offered Stamkos. That's a whole nother story. I don't want to get deep into that. I almost did, but I don't, because I don't know all the intricate details of that. Because everything that went on with free agency, other than what the Panthers did, went in this year and out the other because of what I was dealing with Fluffy. So I have to go back and rewatch and review what everybody did, because it did not sink in. But in terms of Ekblad, I give him a B. Okay, I think for what he is physically, for what he was, for how difficult it is for any player to have to accept, I can't do that anymore and I have to be this now. That's not easy. And he did it well enough so that we won a cup with him on the top pair. And he stayed. I don't even want to say it because I don't want to jinx it. He played all the games he needed to play. He did the thing. He didn't do the thing that would cause him to miss times. I don't want to jinx it. You know what I'm saying? So, he's got this one more year at 7.5. And I mean, I joke about this all the time, but every interview, right? You could walk up to him and be like, "Hey, Aaron, how's the weather?" And be like, "I love it in Florida. I want to stay. Please. I love it here. I don't want to." I mean, we give him a lot of grief because, especially in the past, him losing the puck at the blue line on the power play, there it goes. I mean, we gave him a lot of grief, but Maurice stopped putting him into those positions for the most part, and Ekblad played well within himself. And the other thing I wanted to mention, in terms of improvement here, let's see, that's regular season. What was I looking? Where is it? Yeah, penalty minutes. Now, penalty minutes, that is one thing this year that did. Let me look at this. He's kind of been all over the place penalty minute wise. He's had a couple of seasons where he was really good in terms of only taking maybe 1 minute of penalties per 2 games. But then there's a lot more years where he kind of takes for every game he plays, he's going to take 1 minute of penalties. He don't really get himself into too much trouble, right? For Ekblad, it's all about the positioning. Stay back. If he can keep the opposing team in front of him, good. We're good. He can do everything that we need him to do. When he starts to chase is when he gets into trouble. So that's why, just stay back. Just be a good boy, right? You get you a shot collar. We'll get you a little play toy. You just stay back there. Don't even have to worry about don't worry about what the big kids are doing down on the other end of the ice. You just stay down there. We'll get you a popsicle, get you a sippy cup, rocking chair, whatever we need to do, Aaron. Just stay. Just stay there. And that's how you can end up being a career-long Florida Panther. The end.